Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Sim Racing Collective, and welcome back to another round of the PC GT3 Super Sprint. We continue our 3-week voyage around the world. Of course, we take our stop here in Japan before we head back over to the UK in a week's time. My name is Zach Sweeney. I'm alongside Kelsey Gill once again in the commentary booth, with Kieran Sharp behind the scenes, pushing the buttons and making sure everything looks nice and pretty, and we cover all of the 40 minutes of racing action. As you can see, we are already into the formation lap. There's no qualifying. You might be thinking, well, hang on, are we missing something? Don't worry. Don't panic. We're all good. It's a top 10 reverse, of course, coming in to this into today. Of course, the top 10 in the standings reverse. So those that finished really well last week start a little bit further down. Those that didn't quite finish as well last week at Silverstone start a little bit further up in a bid to obviously recover some points. Kelsey, it was a fairly eventful one a week ago when we went to Silverstone, and now we travel to an equally historic circuit in the form of Suzuka.
Yes, hello, good evening everybody. Yeah, it's Suzuka is one of the standouts in motorsport. It's such a fantastic venue. And yeah, it was a tough one, wasn't it, the first one, but it was a great little race. And yeah, we're going into this one. I think, Zach, in all honesty, this championship is going to be quite wide open. I think the reverse top 10 is going to really invite a lot of mix-ups, and it's a high scoring championship as well. 65 points for a win around with this super sprint. So those drivers going out there and leading the way, you know, Chris Tedder, perhaps if he can hold the lead, he'll get a lovely little points haul if he can do. And you know, I think the first round was just a little taster of what's yet to come. We've got this circuit, and then we go to Brands Hatch as well next week. You're going to miss Brands Hatch, Zach, but I'm sure it's going to be a great one. But I think we talked a lot about last week how the circuit was a bit hard to overtake because of DRS trains. I think the next two circuits, you know, well, this circuit and next week's, are going to be similar as far as hard for overtaking, but for a lot different of a reason. There's not too many places around this track that are easy overtakes, and the same can be said about Brands Hatch.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I mean, the three circuits that we've got, obviously the good old Japanese sandwich with some British bread in the form of Silverstone and Brands Hatch, with a good old, who doesn't love a Suzuka sandwich? I don't know, I've never personally tried one, to be honest, and well, there we go. But all in all, yeah, I think the calendar in of itself is quite a good one. Again, we travel to historic circuits, and the format does allow for there to be some good racing. Of course, it's Chris Tedder and Copsey on the front row, Maurice Stryker and Muller just in behind in 3 and 4. Kelsey just before they're about to form up in their 2x2. Who's coming out on top in 40-minute dash to the checkered?
Oh gosh, it could be anybody really. My word, I think keep an eye on Ehler, who looked very good in the last race, and Muller in the number 30.
Yeah. It should definitely be a ton of fun. There you can see, of course, them making their final preparations, weaving around left and right, getting find a bit of temperature into their tyres. Clear skies ahead of 40 minutes of racing, a mandatory pit stop along the way as well. Tedder will lead them across the line and begin this amazing dash around one of the most famous circuits in all of motorsport. Round number 2 of the TSRC Super Sprint here on Assetto Corsa Competizione. Who is going to be the one to reign victorious? Who's going to be the one to take a step closer to the Super Sprint crown? We're waiting, eagerly anticipating that green flag to wave and that 40-minute clock to begin. 30 cars essentially lined up on this grid, all 2 rows side by side, as they'll run in arms all the way towards turn number 1, and we are underway here in Suzuka. A great start from the pole sitter, of course, with Chris Tedder. Side by side as well, just in behind, you can see the Ferrari, I think, of Maurice Stryker trying to pick his way through into 3rd. Christian Muller fighting away in 4th in that Audi R8. Side by side, of course, with Marchione, who's trying to work side by side, but no way through into the S's. The Mercedes of Ehler as well, just in behind, fighting with Ollie Henley. There is James Wright as well, trying to pick his way through some of the carnage. So far, so good, but this first sector, Kelsey, well, it's a difficult one to get some overtakes done.
Yeah, it's a tricky one. It's corner after corner after corner. It's the S section. Very famous. There's some side-by-side action. previous TSRC PC GT3 Series champion, making his way through the grid of Bailey Thompson. He's way down the order at the moment as the time in turn now begins to resort itself. He's actually in P9, but he's making some passes, showing that it's not too difficult to go side by side through the S section of Suzuka. I've not long completed a race here, and I absolutely loved it. I was the most consistent I've been since I've been on a racing wheel, which I was very proud of. But it's certainly a circuit where you've got to really think about your overtakes and really set them up, and perhaps trying to set up an overtake is Samuel Chumley. We know the straight line speed of the Lexus as they make their way down towards Spoon Curve. He's going to have the inside line now as the 111 as he goes through. Oh, and he just tags Usarich as he goes through, and that's caused a bit of carnage as all the rest of the field. Oh gosh, that was messy.
Gosh, indeed. There you can see Mirko Akusic, the McLaren, unfortunately, out essentially of this race. Christian Müller there in fourth. You can see that Audi R8 might well be very suited to the Suzuka circuit. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 all in a line, all of them not really separated by much more than half a second apiece, with still 38 minutes of action left to go. Don't forget a mandatory pit stop along the way as well. We thank everyone that's watching along on the Sim Racing Collective and, of course, the JP Broadcasting YouTube channel. Make sure to subscribe to both. There is Ella looking to the inside of Marchione going into turn up 1, but no way through for the 777 on this particular occasion. And I think this is what we're coming back to, Kelsey, is to sometimes how difficult it is for these cars to overtake around such a fast-flowing and twisty circuit.
Yeah, it is. It's, you know, with the flow of this track, with the corners just coming at you one after another, you've really got to think about it. Like I've already said before, you've got to perhaps even, I mean, your best chance is banking on mistakes from the drivers ahead of you, because the circuit is quite narrow, actually. Not narrow enough to dissuade from side-by-side racing by any means, but it certainly makes overtaking that little bit more of a challenge, and you've actually got to think about it. And you've got to sort of assess the driver ahead of you, haven't you? See where they're braking, where their lines are, where you can perhaps get in on the traction. Can you brake it later than your opponent? Can you take advantage of them braking later than you, perhaps? Can you take a faster line through a fast corner like the first couple of corners, or the Spoon Curve as we come around here? Can you be brave coming out of Spoon Curve and draw side by side through 130R and pull a Fernando Alonso and put off an absolute worldie of an overtake? Can you outbrake your opponent into the bus stop chicane, which is quite a sharp little chicane for side-by-side racing? There's so many things you've really got to think about when tackling a circuit like this. Here's Bailey Thompson, though, looking to pull alongside. There's Christian Müller, though, pulling alongside Maurice Stryker. There's your 130R moment there. Stryker holding his own, keeping the German bay from now, not letting him attack him in towards P3, or at least take P3 from him. I think Copsey and Tedder had a little bit of a battle in towards the bus stop chicane ahead of them, but there was no change of position just yet. Tedder holding on to the lead for now, and they're actually breaking away from Stryker and Müller, who's on the attack once more in towards the first couple of corners. Side by side now for the pair of them. Is Müller going to stick it all the way around the outside? Are they going to Prost and center this as they go through a little bit of banging, little bit of paintwork switching between the two, but still Maurice Stryker holds on.
Nicely done from Maurice Stryker, who really does love Suzuka. It's a very fast circuit for him. Of course, usually fielding the Japanese Honda NSX, but not fielding that one on this particular day. Opting for the Ferrari 296 instead. A very long train queuing up behind him, though, as it's a two-horse race out in front. Leonardo Chiala here in 16th place. Got Malv Gardner and Pinner for company just ahead in that fight for 15th place. By the way, just noticed, this wasn't planned or anything. The good old legend in the form of Kieran Sharp, the man behind the Sim Racing Collective YouTube channel, has just put in the YouTube chat that I have been nominated for a VCO Simi. For those sort of unfamiliar, VCO, the organisation behind sort of a set of awards that they do for multitudes of different categories, and I've been nominated for best commentary. So if you think I deserve it, head over to that link and click my name. There's another guy there called James Parfit. is irrelevant. Just ignore him. No, I'm joking. But there are a plethora of different talents, and you know, choose whoever tickles your fancy. If that happens to be me, then I really do appreciate it, and I promise that probably won't be the last time I bring it up over the course of this broadcast. Samuel Disco, the legend himself, of course, there in 11th place in the good old Aston Martin Vantage. At the moment, 13th, and well, I mean, he's not exactly unlucky, Kelsey, because we're looking at him.
Yeah, we're watching him. He's a fan favourite, of course. DQ Dave and GT Jamie love him. Hello, live chat. We haven't forgotten about you. It's just been chucked straight into the action. And, well, the race has already started, Hayden, so don't worry about that. Saying good races, Zoo Love. It's already kicking off. Josh with a little bit of an F-bomb there. Austin Draper in the JP chat saying my throat hurts. So does mine. I've been on the honey and lemon all day to try and dissuade it. Just don't go blaring out karaoke when you're already developing a sore throat. I really don't recommend. GT James says what he lacks in pace he makes up for in looks. I'm sure he does. I'm going to take your word for it. But we're watching Ela in the Mercedes, and there's this nice little pack have all sort of stayed together, haven't they? They've not been drawing off one another. Muller has made up a place on striker. He's got ahead of the Dutchman and that wide Lexus that he's driving. No, it's the Ferrari. What am I talking about? But there's a little bit of a tussle here.
Different categories of people.
I really have.
Side by side anyway between Ela and the Ferrari Lexus thing that Marciona happens to be driving. It's on the outside for the Ferrari. The inside goes to the 777 through Spoon Curve, and the Frenchman of Jan Ela finds his way through and up into 5th place, taking the 86's place away, and a very nice move indeed. A fight for the lead though here potentially. Chris Tedder going to be looking in his mirrors, going into 130 hour and ducking and diving is Copsey with the fastest lap of the race as well. No way through for now, but you could definitely tell that Chris Tedder's feeling the pressure.
Yeah, he is, and I think he's doing well to keep Copsey at bay for now, and I think the track is playing some advantage there too. I think, you know, your best overtaking opportunity really is into the first couple of corners and maybe into Spoon Curve as well. Taking a little look at that switchback, let's see. Let's go for it. No, perhaps not. It's a bit of contact. It's a 71 car making contact. I think that was with a BMW through Spoon Curve. Through there, unfortunate for Leonardo Kayala in the Lamborghini. But your best overtaking chance here, Samuel Chumley. That's what I was thinking of when I made the mistake of calling Striker's car Lexus thing Ferrari or whatever it is I said. But making his way through is Samuel Chumley with the straight line speed of that Lexus, taking moves into the first corner. Is it going to be the most difficult of processes?
It's not been 6 minutes yet. I can't mention
I think it's because nobody knows my name, Zach.
I know your name.
Well, I mean, you and a handful of people that watch us along through on these awesome races. So, you know, all the more better for them.
Well, I don't know. Do you guys know his name? If I didn't introduce him, I don't know. Yeah, that's true. One day. I mean, people don't know my name either. I just pester them.
Can I retract my vote for you, Zach?
Nah, you can't. Big vote for me. Cheers, Dave. Big up, Dave. I really appreciate it. But I can't say what you're voting for me for because it's not been 6 minutes yet. And I made a deal with Andrew Pike because he said to me, you can bring it up just not every 5 minutes. And I was like, all right, I'll do it every 6. And then we said deal. And pleasure doing business with you. Got the sign, got the seal from Kieran Sharp. So that's how we're going to play it. Be prepared for the annoyance. That is me milking the fact that I've actually done something worthy of being proud of. Anyway, Chris Tedder leads the way for this race. We'll get back to the relevant stuff, of course. Thanks, Dave, by the way. I really do appreciate the support. Anyway, with Maurice Stryker. Oh, wow. 404. And, well, I think he has found a very big error in his driving.
I like that one. That was good. Hey. And here he comes through 130R. He just gives it a little bit too much, unsettles the car. You see it sort of bottoming out there as he comes toward the last part of the corner and straight in for a meeting with Barrier. He loves this track, does Maurice, and I think he'll be a bit gutted with that going through there. It's such a fun corner 130R, but it can bite back if you take that little bit too much curb. What's Bailey Thompson up to? Breaking his way into the top 10. He's a quick driver. That was a lovely little move in towards turn number 3 there as they make their way in toward the S's. Proving he can go wheel-to-wheel racing. We didn't see much of it last season in the TSRC GT3 series. Tripping over my words with that long one. But we're seeing it now here in this super sprint. And Bailey Thompson, he's a very exciting driver to watch in that McLaren.
He is. Recently commentated on him over the course of the recent Watkins Glen, I believe. No, it wasn't. It was the Hungarian for the... No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. Actually, I lie. It was for the VCO SimGrid World Cup, World Finals, actually, or Grand Finals, I think. Blimey. It all blurs in together here on ACC. The VCO SimGrid Grand Finals, of course, where those familiar with the TSRC 500 endurance series, essentially people qualified through 10 different communities to go and race for that. Bailey Thompson was one of them, and he was a very strong outfit in the GT4 category. So, of course, the reigning champion of the season 6 of the PC GT3 series, and as we said, a very, very strong driver in his own right and carving his way through the field here in the Super Sprint. Pit window is open for the next 18 minutes. There is Mirko Ukusic having even more troubles, this time down at the hairpin. As he rejoins the circuit very sluggishly into the barrier. And Suzuka is one of those, well, it's an unrequited love story. And, well, he's bit back and he's taken another McLaren with him after going for a gap that, was it there? I don't know.
I think a bit frustrated on that one there, Zach. He went onto the grass, didn't he? He went for a gap that definitely wasn't there. And I think when you make a mistake at a track like Suzuka, when it rains, it pours, you know, it just piles up. It puts the frustration on it, makes it a little bit more desperate. And this track does not like desperation in the slightest. You have to treat this track with the utmost respect. You have to be focused. You have to be as dialed in as possible, because one mistake and you will go into the walls. They are waiting for you. If you veer off the track, that grass is lethal, those curbs are lethal. This track will bite back if you disrespect it, and we've just seen that there. But we've got a nice little battle going on for the lead, I think. We've got the 3 cars there. There's Tedder, Copsey, Muller, and Ela is lurking in the background as well. He's a couple of seconds down the road for the time being, but the pit window's now open, so it'll be very interesting to see what the top 3 do. Perhaps Ela goes in early. But we're watching Bailey Thompson. He's close on the back of Henley and Marquion there in the fight for P5. Looks to the inside. That was a bit... Ooh, I don't know about that one, Bailey.
Getting his elbows out is Bailey Thompson, but...
That's one word for it.
Yeah, well, he's got... Well, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, let's have a look. Going into the hairpin, let's take another look at it. Oh, I mean, in fairness... I mean, take this from a person who did smash a rear windscreen at work today. I don't think he did a hell of a lot wrong there. I mean, it was a squeeze and it was aggressive, but at the same time, the car ahead did kind of move to go for a move himself, and in doing so, just sort of it caused a little bit of a pile-up. Andrea Amonte finding his way past Ollie Henley going into the 130R. Ollie Henley immediately on the fight back, late on the brakes into the Casso triangle. Nicely done, demoting the number 7 down into 7th place. What a move that was. Very late, very aggressive. And all in all, yeah, some good moves and some big mistakes as well, like that one going through 130R. You need all the downforce you can get, and unfortunately, mate, the grass isn't going to give it to you.
No, it's certainly not. And yeah, I mean that'll be an incident that causes a few arguments, I reckon. But we're not there. We're not here to call the incidents. We're here to provide perhaps an opinion on them. But other than that, it's down to the stewards to do that sort of work, because it is a head. They are sometimes head scratchers, especially ones like that. But we keep watching this fight. Muller lurking. He's waiting for his opportunity, but I think Cobsey and Tedder, they've stopped fighting a little bit, perhaps, mostly because that gap's opened up, and they're going to have to be focused on Muller behind them. He's going to be fighting, and Ela, is he making his way through lapped traffic? Yes, he is, I think, just behind, and he's gained a little bit of time, not as much as he would have liked. He's going to want these 3 to start fighting, perhaps, to draw them in, and I don't know, what do you do if you're in Ela's shoes, I suppose? Do you risk an undercut, perhaps, and maybe take some new tyres nice and early, and then try and get the time in and hope they go late. It's a call that they're going to have to be thinking about around here, as having the clear air around a track like this can be very beneficial, I think.
Oh, it can, yeah, absolutely. With sort of how difficult it can be to overtake at times, and with how much commitment there is at a circuit like this, you can gain a lot of time by not being hindered by someone in front of you. So if you are quicker, use that time you have available to sort of get ahead. It's a long lap here as well, upwards sort of 2 minutes, and again, there is a lot of opportunity here to actually, get those moves done. You can, by the way, tell who has and hasn't made a pit stop. If you just look on the timer tower on the left, right next to the driver's number, you'll see a little box. It might be orange with a white 1, it might be green. If it's green, that means they've ticked the box. That means they've taken their mandatory stop and they are ready to just have a sprint to the end. If it's orange with a 1, they still owe us their mandatory pit stop and still need to come back into the pit lane. And then also the last thing you want is a little red banner next to your name, like we see there with Gretchen. A stop go 30, which Kelsey means he's been a naughty boy and he's sped in the pit lane, which is suboptimal.
He can't have spun in the pits, bed in the pit lane, Zach. He's not even been in the pits. He hasn't served his stop.
Just because he's not served his stop doesn't necessarily mean he's not been in the pit lane. You can have a pit stop, but there's a specific criteria that you have to do. Obviously, in some cases it's tyres, some cases it's fueling. If you don't meet that criteria, then it doesn't count as ticking off your mandatory stop. Like some, for example, it's not the case here. Some say you have to take a minimum of 4 tyres. If you only take 2, well, you don't take tyres at all, you don't tick off the mandatory thing, and basically means that your pit stop means absolutely nothing. So just because you've been in the pit lane, doesn't necessarily mean that's gonna tick off your mandatory thing, as there is off the road for the McLaren. Unfortunately, there I think of Ollie Henley.
Yeah, Ollie Henley, a venture off the circuit, but there you go. That's somebody who knows a bit more about ACC than I do. I've never been in the cockpit, so I don't know the processes as well as I probably should. But you learn something new every day, as they say.
Excuses.
Excuses. God.
Had a cough.
Are you sure you want to vote for this guy?
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, no, that's fair enough. It's banter. It's what we like to see here at the good old JP Broadcasting commentary booth. Is 2 people absolutely rinsing each other for about 40 minutes straight. What else would you rather be watching? Probably not a lot. I mean, I'm a celebs on, but yeah.
I reckon they'd probably take us rinsing Jack Southfield for a good 40 minutes.
Oh, absolutely. Jack Southfield doesn't even need to be here, and we will rinse him. 21 degrees, that's why he's not here today. Very close fight for the lead, by the way. 3 cars, Tedder, Kopsy, and Müller. Christian Müller, the German driver, making up the rear end of this 3-horse fight. Again, still over half the race left to go. Plenty of opportunity for these moves to be made. Let's see who's going to be the one to cope with the pressure.
Yeah, they're all so very close, almost bumper to bumper going through the S's there. And you saw a few corners ago, Copsey had a little think about it through the second part of the first corner. It's actually 2 corners if you think about it. There are 2 apexes there. You hit that first one, then you go for a late one as you go through the second part of the corner. Then it's turn 3, 4, 5, 6 as you keep going up the numbers all the way to the last couple of corners around this track. But it was a little look to the inside, but I think Tedder just had it covered off. He's making that McLaren as wide as possible. You've got 3 different cars, or 3 different manufacturers all fighting at the front here. There's McLaren, Ferrari, and Audi, and Mercedes aren't too far out of this, but they well, either in the Mercedes needs these 3 to start fighting. Meanwhile, Samuel Chumley is a fight of his own. He's with James Wright and Ollie Henley. Fighting for P7, coming through Spoon Curve now. That Lexus really, I don't know, it's a great car in a straight line, but it really does lack something in the corners. And a circuit like this, yes, straight line speed will get you far, but in all honesty, there's only 2 parts of the circuit that are considered a nice flat out straight, and that's this part into 130R, and that's the pit straight, as Copsy's made his stop, and Ela as well. They've both come in early, Zach.
They have indeed. and trying to get the jump relative to their rivals. Let's see what Edward Copsey can do. In comes Samuel Chumley as well. Down pit lane, they'll come in, take their stop, and be gone again for the final half of this race. Trying to split it up quite nicely. Of course, for Chris Tedder and Christian Müller out in front, they are going to be wanting to maximise their pace and just get some clean laps under their belt, because this is where a race is decided, Kelsey. And yeah, you can fight as hard as you want on track and be as quick as you like, but you most of the time can't outdrive a bad strategy, and this could mean seconds in terms of the overall time of this race.
Yeah, the key for them here is really that if they do get close enough where an overtake is possible, then they shouldn't fight each other. You got to, at this point, I think you've got to start thinking about your own race, your own position, and I think fighting amongst each other is going to be a detriment. I know it's hard to get racing drivers to not go for a gap, not go side by side, not start fighting out on the track, but it's for the best. And I'm sure if they're thinking strategically, at least as we're about halfway through this race now, that they are having that in mind. They know their rivals are in the pits now, and Ela a little bit far back, but he might still be a contender in this, Zach, so we'll see. I do feel for you, Maurice, by the way. I had a big crash of my own. It was probably my best and worst race of my current season that I'm contending in, where I was actually fighting after joining on the wheel along with everybody else, but I crashed at Shanghai and ended my race a bit earlier than I would have liked, which is a shame. I was actually doing good, so appreciate your appreciation for our comms work. We do try our very, very best here.
Most of the time.
Oh, I do.
Yeah, well, Kelsey does. He's still on probation. No, it's fine. We've got Ollie Henley fighting away with James Wright. James Wright decided to peel his way into the pit lane. Henley continues on for yet another lap, trying to stretch his advantage as much as he can, and of course finish as high as he can in this race as well. Side by side here, Matt Gardner fighting with Poli. The up and under through the Degners as the Ferrari goes wide, and Valerio Poli, unfortunately a little bit wide through the first Degner, sacrifices his run through the second and loses that 16th place to the 805 of Mav Gardner. Nice move there indeed by the BMW. But yeah, all in all, we do try, and it's been a pleasure. Of course, I've been commentating the TSRC since the very beginning of their PC campaign, all the way back last August. I think the 18th of August or something like that. That was the first broadcast all the way at Kyalami when we did an hour-and-a-half race. Those are the days. And well, I think very quickly we almost immediately, I think, swapped to a 45-minute race format or something like that. So there we go. Side by side, by the way, Chris Tedder potentially overtaken. I think he has been by Edward Copsey. What a turn of events that could well be. Yeah, he is second. Yeah, he has been, very much has been. Chris Tedder emerges ahead or behind, I think. Hang on, no, maybe. I think he has. Yes, he has. Tedder. Absolutely, yeah. He has. In 7th, behind Copsey, and that is news. That is a big turning point for this race. What a strategy from Copsey.
Yeah, well, the bigger piece of news, Zach, is that Ela is ahead of both of them. So I'm pretty sure he didn't take tyres where the other two must have, and Ela is going to be your net race leader, I think, because Muller has stayed out even longer. He's just come in now as I've talked about him, so you've had a complete shuffle of the lead here, and will be very interesting to see when Muller comes out on the track in comparison to his rivals when the time does come. Marchioni now in the pits as well. Only 2 drivers still yet to serve their mandatory pit stops, with 5 minutes and 36 seconds left with the pit window still open, and Henley hasn't come in by the looks of things. He's still past Miglioli, trying to make some progress in the 999 car. He's fighting alongside Mr. Stuart Disco there, so he looking at getting some more action is Mr. Disco. But here's Copsey and Tedder. It looks like Copsey is going to return the favour and make his Ferrari as wide as possible, as he's been staring at the back of that McLaren lap after lap.
He has done. and he's going to be grateful to now see some clear air ahead of him, but the pressure will not subside. I'm sure Chris Tedder will still mount some form of a challenge, and it's going to be almost immediately bringing it over to the right-hand side of the circuit. Copsey doing his best in order to retain that 4th place. It's the outside for the McLaren, who is going to give it a go. Has he got the agility in that 720S? This could well be a fight to decide the race through turn 1 and turn 2, and Copsey gets his elbows out through into the S's, and it's the 15 that stays ahead after a valiant effort, it must be said, from the McLaren. What a move with only 14.5 minutes left to go, but is it now for the race lead? Do they have enough time to go and catch Ela? Do they have enough time to go and catch Christian Müller as well, who might well still emerge out ahead of him? We will wait and see, of course, how that funnels itself out in a few moments' time. But my, oh my, what a turn of event this is. And just goes to show that even in a 40-minute race, Kelsey, strategy can still mean a ton.
Yeah, it certainly can. And just looking, Müller is now your net race leader. I take back what I said a moment ago, because I think he must not have taken tyres either to have come out in this position. So you've got Müller and Ela both on the tyres they started this race on, and it looks like Copsey and Tedder on fresh rubber. So they are going to have a bit more of give through this track, and there's a lot of high load through around this circuit as well, so they may need that extra little bit of grip to see them through. But in all honesty, there's not too many corners around this circuit where you're asking too much of the tyres, or at least in the traction zones. But side by side, once again, Copsey and Tedder making their way through 130R. This could be a calamitous contact between the two, or it could be an amazing overtake by Tedder as he goes through, and I think Copsey had no choice but to back out of that one, and Tedder brave to keep it stuck in.
I agree. Definitely takes some courage in order to go for moves like that, especially when it could mean the difference in your race. Of course, they've got gaps to go and close and make the most of their fresh tyres that they now, of course, don't really have long to utilise. And that's the problem with taking tyres, Kelsey, is that there's only 40 minutes for these tyres to go off. The benefit of taking them, surely it's not big enough to warrant doing.
Yeah, I think at tracks where the tyre wear is a bit more of a factor,
Here's Suzuka. Surely there's nothing more demanding than Suzuka.
Yeah, it is very demanding, isn't it? But I think you feel the effects of the tyre wear less, because you're asking, well, at least as far as the grip goes through traction and slowing down and the like. I think the only real corner that really asks for it is that hairpin just as you run down through 200R and is it 120R, I think it is actually, and the spoon curve. I might have had that right the first time, but it's I don't know. It's an odd one, but they lost a lot of time out of it. I mean, you can see the gaps at the moment, 3.9 seconds, almost 4 seconds is the gap between Tedder and Ela. And, you know, that's just what they've lost. That's not even all that they've that's only about I've lost my words, Zach.
That's all right. That's all right. It's fine. It's fine. He's still learning, bless him. He'll get there. It's all fine. I didn't mean to patronise you that bad. I was genuinely trying to be empathetic as best I could. But no, I do get what you mean. I do kind of sort of understand as to where you were going with that. But yeah, tyres to Suzuka. I mean, you've got so many fast-flowing changes of direction which do ask a lot of the tyres, and they will go through them. But again, 40 minutes. Yeah. I don't know, I wouldn't say enough, especially when by the time you've pit, you've only got 20 minutes then to use the tyres. And are you gaining a second a lap in order to close the gaps? Maybe not. I mean, Ollie Henley comes into the pit lane. It's Müller versus Ella for the lead, and with 10.5 minutes left to go, Tedder has got 3.5 seconds to go and catch to even have a shout for second after what was a very firm lead. It's now turned itself into be a maybe for a podium. Bailey Thompson, by the way, has worked his way up quite nicely up the field. He could well be fighting very soon, and actually has found his way past Edward Copsey for 4th. Podium might well be on for that McLaren.
Yeah, Bailey Thompson has not hung around, has he? He's definitely been making his way through, although there could be a steward's inquiry if they at least deem that incident to be his fault. But what I was trying to say was they lost about 2 seconds or so taking the tyres, and they lost even more of that time battling with each other over the last couple of the laps was the point I was trying to make about Copsey and Tedder there and their gap toward the guys at the front. But yeah, Thompson's had find himself in a lovely little position going through. Jack Southfield is confirming that it is too hot for him. He can't go out in this 21-degree heat. He would cease to exist, much like a vampire, return to ashes or something along those lines, I'd imagine, or maybe like burn up in a flaming inferno. I don't know how it works. Somewhat ginger.
Well, yeah, that is true. It's hard to empathise with those that have no soul. Please still vote for me for the Simi Jack Southfield. I really appreciate it. I'll buy you some sun cream. But anyway, the SPF 50 as well. Anyway, Roberto Miglioli in the 999 fighting away with good old Samuel Disco. Don't know if this disco is in the event or the packet of crisps. Either way, it's a fan favourite here in the UK. Bit of a slide from the 999 in that McLaren, and well, let's see if he's going to be able to push his way through. He's got the support of Dave, and everyone knows that if you've got the support of Dave, then you are pushed very far in life. That 33 machine battling in 11th, and getting told that Jan Eller has been promised a McDonald's if he can make the podium. Well, he's in second. Surely that gets him an extra chocolate milkshake or something. I don't know, whatever tickles your fancy. I don't know what French people get from McDonald's, I'll be honest. Because obviously I know the menu changes from place to place. The pit window is now closed, by the way, and everyone thankfully has been able to serve their mandatory stop. But I don't know, you ever been? I mean, you went to Canada. It's kind of the same thing. What did you get from Mackey's there?
Oh gosh, they had a few different things. I know you could get like bagels at breakfast. There's a few different coffee options. Actually, they didn't stop serving breakfast past 11. They just stopped serving certain items on the breakfast menu. You could still get like a McMuffin or something past 11 o'clock. So yeah, I know, right? I can't think of all too many differences in all honesty, though. I didn't know. At least I didn't know. I didn't go to McDonald's all that often. And honestly, there were so many cool places to go eat other than McDonald's that it was, you know, sort of. They still have the fillet of fish out there, though.
Oh. No, absolutely not. Why would you go to McDonald's to get fish? That's like going to KFC for their chips. Like, no, absolutely not. And by the way, they've changed their chips as well. And, I don't know. They're not everyone's favourite. Let's put it that way. Samuel Disco.
Jack's a fillet of fish guy.
Jack is a fillet of fish guy. Absolutely, absolutely. Jack is the type of person to unselect the sweet chili sauce from the sweet chili wrap. That is a Jack Southfield. That is a Jack Southfield thing to do. He gets Happy Meals, of course he does, and he gets what? I swear you can get fish Happy Meals. I swear you can get I'm pretty sure you can get a fish Happy Meal.
You used to be able to get fish fingers.
Yeah, fish finger Happy Meal or something like that, and he probably gets a vanilla milkshake.
Plain McFlurry as well, no toppings.
Oh yeah, no, or yeah, no, just literally just plain McFlurry. Oh, Jack Southfield. He's that guy, just that guy. Double quarter pounder, 5 chicken selects. I mean, the chicken selects are very basic. It literally sounds as if you just pulled up to Mackey's drive-thru in a Vauxhall Corsa, I'll be honest. The chicken selects, that's a Corsa meal, isn't it? It's the type of guy to get orange juice with the meal. He's like, so can I have a large meal with a bottle of water, please? It's Jack Southfield.
I get a large meal with a bottle of water.
Grow up, Kelsey Gill. Grow up.
Trying to cut down on my fizzy drinks.
No, you should get a Coke Zero or a Diet Coke.
It's still the caffeine though, isn't it?
No apple pie, no apple. Oh, goodness me. Oh, yeah, Jack Southfield's the type of person to get, so, can I have a cheeseburger, but can you take the cheese out, please? No, that's funny. That is funny. Oh, no, Jack Southfield is the type of person who doesn't like gherkins. Ooh. That is true.
Oh, I love me a gherkin.
Who doesn't love a gherkin? Extra
Jack Southfield.
pickles. Ah, he needs to grow up. Honestly, Jack Southfield, mate, you need to sort it out. He has no. Nah, it's fine. If you don't get an orange juice with a breakfast meal, what are you doing? No, you start the meal off with just the raw acidicness of a Coke or a hot chocolate. Actually, to be fair, I had to drive my my little sister to the other side of Norwich last week for football, and of course we got Mackey's breakfast on the way because why wouldn't you? And I was like, you know what, I really fancy a hot chocolate, but that hot chocolate ended up costing me a tenner because obviously I had to get my little sister something as well. So it was a little bit. Wasn't really worth it, but it was, especially now. So you know that very much was worth it. Hot chocolate from McDonald's is you can't go wrong with a Mackey's hot chocolate.
Nah, he gets milk. That's what he gets. Not fruit shoe. He gets the
No.
milk. Or I bet he's the kind of guy who doesn't like hash browns.
I don't.
Never trust a person who doesn't like hash browns.
I don't like hash browns.
You don't like hash browns? Oh my god. So I'm definitely pulling my vote out now.
Grow up. You can't do that. It's too late now. You're all in too deep.
Skim
Oh,
milk only.
skim milk. Nah, he goes into Starbucks and like he has the most long-winded order you can imagine. Like, he's one of those people that has just the most customized order ever. And a Jack Southfield hash brown in or out of the bun. What do you mean?
What?
What?
Oh
Where are you putting your hash browns, mate?
I don't want to know where he's putting his hash browns. But Christian Tedder, he looks like he's caught up to the back of Ela there. And those new tyres coming in for Tedder. He's got his head down. He's got rid of Copsey, and he's going to be challenging the Frenchman in towards the bus stop. He's had a little bit of a look and made a desperate lunge for P2. I think he's only got himself to hold his hands up for that. Bailey Thompson has threaded the needle to go straight through the two cars, finding himself on the podium. That McDonald's order not looking a little bit less likely for Ela now. But side by side goes Chumley again. He's made another move through 130. Oh, that's a lovely little bit of racing. And James White's still going to stay with him though. But yes, I think Ted is going to have a little bit of a visit to the stewards room, I think, for that one.
Yeah, he is. He's not going to be very well received by Jan Ela if it does in fact cost him that McDonald's. Thankfully, the Frenchman is still up there in P3, and as such does earn him some good old McDelivery points, I'm sure. Leonardo Chialet, there you can see fighting with Polly just in behind. In that fight for 16th place. 2 minutes left to go, so we are on to the penultimate lap of this race. Christian Muller leads Bailey Thompson in what has been a sensational battle for the lead. The 71 going far too deep into the Casio triangle, but is able to thankfully keep it on the road, pointing the right way. What a broadcast this has turned itself into be, by the way. Yeah, I never thought in my infinite professionalism that I would spend half a race talking about a Ginger's specific taste when it comes to a McDonald's menu item. I'll be vastly honest. I never thought that would be the case. And yes, I think that if there were if there was ever any reason for you to vote for me for the Simmies, it's now, and that is because, of course, if you didn't know, I've been voted, funnily enough. Or nominated for the inside the top 10 roster for the VSO Simmies for best commentary. So if you do fancy doing that, and if you do, all right, I'll try a hash brown. I'll buy a hash brown next time. All right. If you're on team no hash brown, then no already. I don't like hash browns. If you are on team hash brown, know that if you vote for me, I'll get a hash brown. So I think that's a good middle ground, Kelsey, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, not only will you get votes if you eat a hash, for eating a hash brown, I suppose you'll also get a life, because Hayden says people who don't eat hash browns, don't like hash browns, have no life. So
I'm a commentator, mate.
Yes.
Don't have a life anyway. So it's fine.
I mean, you could argue you have all but a life, but.
Oh yeah, well that's fair dues. They're very wide from that McLaren going on to the final lap as Matt Gardner seals 13th place. Dave saying, yeah, I'll record it. I will go up to Mackey's drive and I'll say, can I have an apple pie without the apple? and I'm sure that will solidify any votes. And Jack Southwood, it's not rigged, thanks to James Parfitt's two-part series on TikTok in regards to the semis, and unfortunately, it's not rigged in my favour because I'm not very good at making friends, and none of them are on the panel. So that would obviously not assist me very much in that regard. And maybe if I don't win, I'll make the sequel to James Parfitt, Simi's The Return of the what? I don't know. I honestly don't know. But anyway, back to the racing, because this man right here, Christian Müller, in the Audi R8, has been nothing but deserving of a McDonald's breakfast. The man has been on fire through 130R, and the big brain racing machine definitely has had his big brain on today. He's dominated from start, essentially, of the pit lane sequence to now. Bided his time through the first phase, took his moment when it counted, and round number 2 of the TSRC PC GT3 Super Sprint here at Suzuka goes the way of the German, who weaves his way in celebration across the line to take victory here in Japan. It's Bailey Thompson after a sensational recovery drive into second, joined by none other than Jan Ehler, and, well, unfortunately to the to his good friend, he's going to be grabbing himself a good old McDonald's, which is also not bad at all. And, well, he can get there very speedily because, of course, he's a very fast driver, and he's just won himself a podium. I think he's earned it, as have a fair majority of these drivers, to be fair. So, Kelsey, it's been a good race.
Yeah, you know, I told you to keep an eye on Müller, and I told you to keep an eye on Ehler, and I turned out to be right. They both finished on the podium, and, well, Müller went on to win. So I think if I was a betting man, I'd be quids in there, I suppose. And Bailey Thompson coming out of nowhere. If there was a driver of the day vote, I think I'd probably give it to him, or perhaps Müller for that win from P4, as it was a very good drive, very smart from the German.
Was indeed. Nicely done. And all in all, just a very well put together race. Adam Brown, say cheese to the camera there, unfortunately in 20th place. Not really had the best races. Having the rounds of potassium in the YouTube chat. Don't know why there are some Jack Southwood and David just putting pace. But yeah, I think they're just being dry to each other. I'm not entirely sure. The number 33, of course, of Samuel Disco across the line. We've got loads of threes. Jack Southfield. No, that is not a joke appropriate for broadcast, and I will firmly have myself taken away, so I won't indulge further. Across the checkered flag is going to be Adam Brown, and we'll run you through the final finishing order of this race. It's Christian Müller, Bailey Thompson and Jan Ehler, a very deserved 1, 2 and 3 ahead of Tedder and Copsey 4 and 5. Malchon in 6th, just ahead of Ollie Henley and Almonte in 7th and 8th. Samuel Chumley, James Wright, the top 10 ahead of Migoli. Sam Disco in 12th place with Matt Gardner, Pinner and Rubini, the top 15. Then comes Chiala, Poli, Giardi, Miller and Brown in 20th. And then comes Akusic, who unfortunately did not quite have the best of races, and Gretchen, the last of those that were technically classified, ahead of Marie Stryker in 23rd place as well. I have to say, Kelsey, not a bad race by any standards, in fairness, and I think sets us up for quite a decent finale in a week's time when we head to Brands Hatch.
Yeah, it certainly does, and I think, like I said at the beginning of the stream, I think this short series that we've got building us up to Christmas it's still wide open, even going into the final round next week. And Davide DeMarco wasn't here this week either, who's current championship leader, although I think that may change. I think Christian Müller may take that current accolade, but I think the door is still firmly open for somebody else to make a shake-up in towards the final round at Brands Hatch. But, well, you're going to have to tune in to find out what happens then, aren't you?
think they will. In a week's time, of course, on the 14th of December. Same time, of course, just around about 8 p.m. for those in the UK. Translate that to wherever you are around the world, because it's something that you are not going to want to miss. This sort of interim between the two PC GT3 series here on ACC for the Sim Racing Collective. If you do want to get yourself involved in any future championships, get yourself over to their SimGrid page and firmly get yourself on the grid for the future seasons. My name has been Zach Sweeney, Kelsey Gill alongside me, and just for one final reminder, if you are interested in voting for the VCO Simi Awards and you would maybe consider putting me down for best commentary, that would be absolutely amazing. Thank you all for watching, of course, wherever you are around the world, whether you were on the Sim Racing Collective YouTube channel or on the James Parfitt Broadcasting YouTube channel as well. Subscribe to both and make sure you show the love as well. It's been an honour to talk you through each and every single bit of racing action. Thank you for indulging us in the most wondrous of conversations. But unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, it's goodbye for now.